Hello friends, this is Lindsay for Fontsy. Thanks so much for joining me for today's tutorial video. We are back and we're using the Ikonart custom stencil kit again. So we've used this before, and if you're unfamiliar, it's really cool. You can create your own custom reusable stencils, which you can use on lots of different kinds of things. And in today's video, we'll be stenciling onto a mug. So we'll be showing you how to do that, plus sharing links on how to create smaller stencils without wasting any of your materials. So there are links in the video description to some of the supplies that you're going to need, including the Ikonart custom stencil kit. But you're also going to need your favorite SVG design to stencil onto your mug. So you'll probably find that in the mug and tumbler bundle over at Fontsy. So links in the video description to check that out, and we'll go ahead and get started. So in the Ikonart kit, the included printer film measures 8.5 by 11 and the stencil material measures 10 by 12. But for your mug, you are definitely not going to need a stencil that big, nor do you want to waste any of that precious material, and you don't have to, and we'll share a couple of tips on how to do that. But first up, you want to start by printing out your design, and I'm using the inkjet printer film, but the kit also includes laser printer film, and you want to print it in 100% black, and you'll print out the design in the size you want it to be for your stencil. And there's a great blog post about how to get the most out of this printer film, so I'll link to that in the video description. But basically, in your design program, save the design as you printed it out, and then you're gonna print out your stencil, save the sheet though, and then when you want to make another stencil later on down the road, open up the file that you saved on your computer, delete the design that you had already printed, and then print out the second design on the printer film. So easy peasy, right? And next, your stencil material. Now, this material is light sensitive, so that's why you are keeping it stored in this bag until you are ready to use it. And since your stencil is going to be, probably a lot smaller than 10 by 12, you're going to need to trim that stencil material and just use a portion of it. So, you want to do this in a dark room. So turn off the lights, close the shades, and then trim a piece that's about 1 inch bigger than the design on all sides. Then immediately put the remaining stencil film back into its light protective bag. And then you'll want to use the stencil film that you just cut right away. So we already have our light stand set up, and then we're going to assemble the sandwich. So you put the stencil material down first, and then position the printed design in the middle of it, and then put the clear protective cover sheet over it, and then turn on the UV light for 30 seconds. Then when you're done, head to your sink with the exposed stencil film and the included clipboard, and you're going to rinse out the stencil design. And it's really cool how the stencil appears. And I'm using the spray nozzle on the sink with warm water, and you're going to be rinsing for a while, so about 3 minutes or so. But look at that, the stencil design is all rinsed out, and now you just want to set it aside and let it dry completely, so for at least 45 minutes. And now your stencil is ready to use, my friend. So here's our ceramic mug. Go ahead and wipe it down with some isopropyl alcohol so it's nice and clean. And then also grab your paint. This is enamel paint that I picked up from the craft store that is made for glass and ceramics. And then you'll also need the squeegee. So peel the stencil off its clear backing and apply it to the mug. And what's nice with this stencil material is that it's going to cling to the mug, but it's also repositionable. So if you don't get the stencil on, positioned exactly where you want it on the first try, you can remove it and you can do it again. So go ahead and, smooth down that stencil when it's right where you want it. And then if you're feeling daring and you have enough room around the edges of the stencil, then you can just start your paint application. Otherwise, if you want to use some blue painter's tape around the edges of the stencil to mask off the rest of the mug, then that'll help keep paint from getting on the rest of the mug. Then take a scoop of your paint and your squeegee, and you're going to spread it across the stencil, with a fair amount of pressure. Just make sure that paint is spread evenly. And then set that squeegee aside, and then carefully remove the stencil. So you don't want to leave the stencil on the mug and let the paint dry into it. After you apply the paint, you want to take the stencil off and wash it with warm water. Then you'll put the stencil back on its backing, and you would let it dry completely before you would use it again. But then read the instructions on your paint for how to let that enamel paint cure. So this one says to let it air dry for an hour. Then place in a cool oven, heat to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and bake for 30 minutes, and then let it cool in the oven. And here's how it turned out. I think it's a fun design from the mug and tumbler bundle. I thought it was super funny, and I'm sure my mom will get a kick out of it. And then the paint that I use says it's top rack dishwasher safe, so that's super awesome. So there you have it, folks, creating small stencils for your mugs using the Ikonart custom stencil kit and getting the most out of your materials. So if you like the design that I used for the mug, you can find it in the mug and tumbler bundle at Fontsy. So there's a link in the video description to that, plus a link to the Ikonart custom stencil kit, which is really cool. You got to check it out, and then you can start making your own stencils for your own mugs, and it's a lot of fun. So thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and then we'll see you in the next video. Bye.